Hey everyone, it's Salman Bahu. I'm affiliated with University of Udine, Italy and University of Agder, Norway. Welcome to the playlist How to Find PhD Scholarship in Italy in the field of economics, management and business. In this video, we are going to discuss the fourth step, how to prepare research proposal. This is one of the important steps when you are applying for a PhD scholarship in Italy or in any other country. Because research proposal is the main element on which basis the research board, the PhD board, will evaluate your application and they will select you or they will reject you. Here are some tips for you to prepare a very good research proposal. Number one, I will recommend you to see a complete playlist how to choose research topic on my YouTube channel. It contains number of videos that will be very helpful for you to find a very good topic. There are two stages. Remember that the first stage is that you should have a very good idea, you should have a novel idea, you should have a very good topic. And the second step is that how to write research proposal. Writing a research proposal is not so difficult in my point of view. Choosing a good, latest and novel topic is one of the important tasks. So that's why I will recommend you to see the complete playlist how to choose research topic. Follow the systematic steps which are recommended during that process. After following that process, you should come up with one or two ideas, and then you can decide on which topic you want to write. Most importantly, many universities does not provide you a format of research proposal, or it is also possible a university can provide you, okay, this is the format and you have to submit the research proposal within the requirement of this format. Normally a research proposal consists of 3000 to 5000 7000 words. It's depend on the university requirements, so you have to prepare your proposal according to university requirement. I will suggest you to prepare a good proposal with maximum words which are required to complete the proposal, and if some university asks you to reduce the number of words, then you can reduce this to complete the requirement. Okay, let's talk about how to write the research proposal. In a research proposal, remember that there are the same parts which you can see in any article or in any thesis. The most important thing, if we divide the research proposal into parts, you must have an abstract, you have an introduction section, you have a literature use section, explain your framework with diagrams, with figures, and explain the variables in the form of table, that what you are going to analyze, what are the dependent, independent, what are your hypotheses, and then method section, what method techniques you are going to apply, analysis and conclusion. So here I want to give you an example of my own research proposal, which my own one of research proposal, although the idea has been used already, but just to give you an idea for applying a PhD and how to prepare a research proposal, what are the key factors you have to add in that. You can download some sample proposals from the Facebook group International Research and Scholarship Center. So this is available, some proposals are available on that group, so it will be helpful for you. So let's move to the example of that proposal. Yeah, this is my proposal for my PhD admission, and the topic of the proposal is determinant of the local currency's sovereign spread in emerging markets, fundamental and global factors versus political factors. So this is my topic. Ultimately your topic will be very different, and I explain here my field of study. I will complete this during the PhD scholarship. And so what's the important thing is that if you see in this proposal, it contains an abstract, just like normal research paper. It has an abstract, although I wrote a little bit longer abstract. Why? Because sometimes I want to give the idea to my readers, my PhD board, my reviewers, that okay, if they just want to read the abstract, I'm providing the complete information into that. After that, it's moved towards the normal introduction section. I also provided a content of the content, and it's also provide the introduction section. So what's the topic, why we are doing this. After that, I move towards straightforward research question 1, research question 2, research question 3. So clearly give an idea to the PhD board and reviewer that these are the research questions which I want to analyze during my PhD. Let's move to the second section, in which I explain the problem statement. In the problem statement, I explain why we need to do this study. What are the reasons behind that? And then I move towards the research objectives. Obviously, your research questions support your research objective. That what are the objective of doing this research? So point wise, explain your research objectives very clearly for your PhD review board. In the next section, I wrote a research question in the form of questions which I will analyze in this research proposal. Next, what is the rationale behind doing this study? Why this study has some implications, in other words, you can say. Then the normally literature review. Obviously, you should know all the latest literature review about your topic. That's why I recommend you to follow the complete process, how to choose your research topic, and then briefly discuss important literature review and explain your hypothesis, because after analyzing the literature review you can explain your hypothesis. I also mention here another important thing, research gaps. After discussion of the literature review, I mention clearly for my readers that these are the research gaps in the literature. So that's why, to cover up these research gaps, I formulated these hypotheses. So clearly mention your hypothesis in your research proposal based on your literature review, because the board has number of applications, they have number of candidates. So you should be very clear in a first view, in a first few minutes after reviewing the proposal. They should understand, okay, this is the research question, this is the gap, this is literature, this is hypothesis. Now, if we move towards, I also mentioned the implications of my studies here, and then theoretical framework and model. As I previously mentioned, you should clearly explain your framework. How I explain my framework? If you see that I clearly explained my model in the form of statistical techniques. I presented here some equations which are linked to my model. I clearly explain the calculation of variables. What are the variables? How we will calculate? What are the reference from the literature? So in this way, basically you giving an idea to your PhD board that you know very well about your variables, you know very well about where you pick from these variables, what are the references, how you will collect the data for these variables. You can also mention the data sources. So you have to show your PhD board you are very prepared for this research. This is not a raw idea, you are not a raw researcher, you have some expertise and you need further guidance to complete this research proposal. So in this way, I provided a table, all the calculations, data sources, then references from the literature. So I mentioned for all of these, for my dependent, for my independent, for my moderators, if there are some moderators here, I mentioned them clearly here. And then I presented my model. There are two models in my proposal, so I mentioned it here. After that, as I explained you earlier, the graphical representation of your model is very important. Remember that every time when you want to publish in very good journals or you want to get a research project accepted, always add a graphical representation, because sometimes people don't want to read too much. They comes here, okay, if as you see in this figure, we can clearly see, okay, this is your independent variable impacting dependent variable. This is another independent variable that impacting on independent variable, and then there is also a comparison. What is the hypothesis 1, what is hypothesis 2, what is hypothesis 3, sample of the studies are the emerging markets. So in this way, like, you are presenting to your readers, your PhD board, that this is the complete picture of my research. So I will strongly recommend to you prepare a very good research framework in this form. And then methodology section is also very important. You should know about your models, you should know about data sources, you should know statistical techniques, available softwares. So you should clearly mention those things here. What is your sample? What are the characteristics of sample? Why you choose this sample? Because you can apply this study to anyone, but why are you choosing this? What are the data sources? It is clearly mentioned from which sources we will collect the information. If we move forward, then references. Actually, you can also Because if you see in my proposal, I presented implications in the start. Everyone have a different idea to present their stuff, but you can follow a systematic process. You can also present the implication in the start, or you can give conclusion and implication at the end. So it's dependent on you. So and then provide the references. Make sure that references are correctly presented. There's no mistake in the references. You're providing references. And another important thing which I want to mention here, citations. Make sure you are providing and following a good way of citing your papers, because when a reader, a professor read your proposal or your article, if you're providing citations very wrong, okay, it's possible one or two mistakes is fine, but you are providing continuously wrong style of citations, different style of citations. So remember that it's give them understanding you don't know about the research writing. Another important point which I want to mention here, that make sure there is no grammatical mistake in the proposal. There is no spelling mistake in the proposal. So after completing technicalities, after writing your proposal, at least give 2 to 3% in who are expert in your field to read that, to read and read. So in this way they can mention you different type of grammaticals errors, so you can remove those errors from your proposal. So briefly I try to explain you how to write the proposal, what are the important things you can mention in your proposal. I hope so it's helpful. These are the very small things. Most of the time in lectures we listen that we just guide people, okay, do this and do this, but the purpose of this video and showing a sample research proposal is to give you an idea, as an idea, by considering you as a student, that the problems which a student facing, you should careful about these things and you should do a practice. Obviously it take time. When you prepare your first draft, it will be very poor in the second, third, fourth, fifth. Remember that at least prepare 5 to 10 draft of your proposal. Improve, improve, improve. But most important thing which I mentioned in the start, research topic. If you're working on some old topic, you're following some wrong direction to choose a topic, then the how much good you will write it useless. That's why I will recommend you, don't write email or don't write message anyone, please recommend me a topic. No. Follow a systematic process. You are a true researcher, so act like a researcher. I hope so. This video is helpful for you. Please subscribe my YouTube channel. Also join Facebook group to download these documents. Thank you so much.